Hey guys, we're heading into week 2, and so far, it looks like you guys are doing pretty well. I'm this little video. I'm going to talk about myself as a writer, since that's one of the assignments we have for week 2. Um, I Most of the writing I've done has been for school or for work. I've never really done a lot of personal writing, although I enjoy doing that kind of stuff, and hope to be able to do more of that. But I'm gonna show you some things, and then I'm gonna talk a little bit about myself and show you some things I have written. Um, I have my undergraduate degree is in education, secondary education, English, and political science. So I have an education degree. I'm certified to teach in those areas. I have a master's degree in reading education, so I have all level reading certification, and then my PhD is actually in rhetoric composition, which basically means learning, studying how people write, how to teach people to write, how writing processes work. So I've been doing that kind of writing, teaching writing for a long, long time. And one of the things I've learned is that a lot of how I was taught to writing isn't necessarily always the best way, and there's a lot of things that we can learn about what writers do, and some really good practices out there that we can help writers work on. And I hope you saw the note after you read the Carbone article. For the rest of this semester, we're going to call our students writers. So I'm going to talk about you guys as writers. I'm going to do the same thing I'm asking you guys to do. One thing I remember, I think I was in the 4th grade maybe, and the teacher made us. We had to write stories, and I wrote a story about some birds that built a nest by my bedroom window, and how we watched them through the whole process of that. I think even drew a picture or something to go with it. And we were supposed to get up in front of the class and read our projects. And I remember when it came my turn, I got up there and I didn't read. I couldn't read anything. I just burst out crying. I just didn't want to read, what I had written in front of the class. And that, because of that, I've always been the kind of teacher who I don't make the writers in my classes read or share their stuff aloud, or even share it, share their written or online documents with each other. So I think there's lots of different ways we can share writing, and I believe we have to let writers decide when they're ready to do that. So anyway, I'll show you a couple of things I'm working on in terms of me as a writer. And this first one, this is actually a web. I kind of call it an exhibit, and I'm building it with this program called Omeka, or Omeka, however you say that. The current research project I'm working on, I'm looking at how victims are presented from a visual rhetoric standpoint at memorial sites. And you can see here I've written kind of an overview, kind of to let the readers know what this exhibit's going to be about. And this is very rough. This is nowhere near completion. I'm just now starting to try to get this together. I've gathered a lot of stuff, and so this is me just trying to start building it. But a lot of the writing that we do nowadays, and more is going to be digital writing, and there's a lot of different ways that we have to think about and function, excuse me, and different questions we have to ask as writers when we put together information that we're sharing in digital formats. And then I have three main memorial spaces that I'm looking at. One is concentration camps, and the main one I've looked at so far is the Auschwitz Memorial, which is in Krakow, Poland. I'm also studying plantations, And I visited some in South Carolina and Georgia mainly at this point. And I'm also looking at the border fence, the fence along the southern United States between the U.S. and Mexico. And so far, I've mainly looked at in Texas, the border fence in Texas. And so, when you click on these, you can see I've got pictures here, and then as I gather the pictures, because it is my topic is visual rhetoric. I'm looking at this from a visual perspective, so there will be many pictures, but I will have a lot of written information to go along with this too, descriptions and stuff. So I'm working very hard on how to put all this together. I mean, the program gives me options, but I still have to think about, how is the writer going to see this stuff? How are they going to, work through it? And what will the experience be like for them? In relation to that same project, this is a chapter that I wrote for publication. I presented at a conference in Krakow last December, and for this project, because one of the things I'm doing when I'm looking at these memorial spaces, I'm also looking at the online spaces related to the physical spaces. So in this case, I analyzed the website for the Auschwitz Memorial. And so this is, I did a presentation at the conference, and then this is the follow-up article that I wrote. And you can see I've got a lot of visuals in here. And things that I'm sharing from a visual perspective. This is actually a picture of the first page of the site. And so that's a recent document I actually completed. This is actually a proposal I wrote for a National Endowment for the Humanities fellowship. Fellowships are, money that people seek to fund projects that they're working on. And so, with my research project, that's one of the things I do is I, look for funding. So this is the narrative part of the proposal. And you can see, these things are more often than not very long. So you have to say a lot in a very short space. You can see this one's just 3 pages. So I've got like an intro, research and contribution, methods and work plan, company skills, etc. Final product. So just 3 pages on that. And so I'm early December, I should hear whether or not I'll be able to get any funding from that. So I'm hoping on that one. Okay, now this last one I'll show you really quickly. This is a different research project I'm working on. It's on the use of voice-to-text applications and how we use those for writing. Voice-to-text is when you like speak into your phone and it like sends a message to somebody and changes what you said into actual text. Those are called voice-to-text apps. And so I'm looking at how we can how we can use those and become part of our writing processes. And you can see there are 3 authors here, so this is a collaborative piece, and I'm listed as the second author on this one. And this one we're going to be presenting at a conference in October. And for this one, we had to have this is what they call a short article. We had to have this ready and turned in back in July. And so you can see here, there's an abstract introduction. You can see it looks very different, the style and the format. Research question, methodology, findings, charts, and then this is what they call the IEEE format, which is electrical engineering something. It's very different from MLA, so you can see how that works. And then a little bit about us, the authors. So anyway, that's just a little bit about me as a writer. One thing that I would tell you though is, I'm not showing you these things to say, oh, look what I've done. I'm just way older than you guys and I've done a lot more stuff. But I, one of the things I always tell people about myself as a writer is I know there's going to be a reader out there, somebody that's going to read and respond to my writing in some way, and that even today, even having done all this stuff, I still get nervous as a writer. I mean, I know how to do most things. I have pretty good skills. I have plenty of people, to give me feedback. But I still get a little nervous about it. So, I just want to let you know that I certainly don't come at this saying I'm the greatest, most confident writer in the world, but I do hope to be able to share with you, more of what I know and what I've learned about writing, and maybe things you can pass along to the writers you work with. So anyway, there's my little answer to the what is a writer and who am I as a writer. So I hope you didn't find my writings too boring. So anyway, you guys are doing really well, so just keep up the good work.